A morning that seemed peaceful at Buckingham Palace suddenly turned into a moment no one would ever forget. As the first rays of sunlight crept over the ancient towers, the familiar calm of the royal residence was shattered by a haunting sound, the thunderous, furious scream of King Charles himself. No one could have imagined that behind those majestic gates, a storm of anger had been quietly brewing, and now it had finally burst free. No one had time to grasp what was happening. Palace staff froze mid-task, their faces pale with fear. The normally orderly atmosphere was replaced by a heavy, suffocating tension. Royal guards stood still like statues' eyes locked on the source of the outburst, while the entire palace seemed to hold its breath. What could have pushed the usually composed king to such a breaking point? What secrets lie behind the royal walls? Stay with us as we uncover the full truth. And don't forget, leave a 1 in the comments if you empathize with this story, or a 0 if you see it differently. Share your thoughts with us below. Like and subscribe so you won't miss what happens next, where we reveal all the secrets behind this unfolding royal drama. An unprecedented scene shook Buckingham Palace on what was supposed to be a quiet and peaceful morning. Suddenly, King Charles's furious and resentful voice echoed powerfully through the gilded corridors of the palace, piercing every room and shattering the usual calm atmosphere. His words carried deep disappointment, pain, and a long-suppressed rage finally unleashed, causing the nearby servants to halt their tasks, their faces paling and trembling in the sudden tension. The guards stood motionless like statues, their eyes fixed on the source of the outburst, as if the entire palace held its breath in that moment. Everyone sensed the gravity of the situation when they realized that the target of the king's fury was not a court official or an outsider, but Queen Camilla, the wife and companion whom everyone expected the king to protect and cherish. This confrontation not only suffocated the palace air, but also opened a new tense and volatile chapter in their relationship, raising serious questions about the future of the monarchy and the bond between them. According to insider sources that have been leaked, King Charles uncovered a shocking and almost unimaginable truth. A priceless piece of royal jewelry had mysteriously disappeared from the secure vault within the palace. This revelation sent shockwaves through the royal household, triggering an intense investigation. As the inquiry progressed, every lead and piece of evidence began to converge on a single person, Camilla. The very woman whom King Charles had defied centuries of royal tradition to elevate and crown as queen was now cast into the harsh spotlight of suspicion, raising questions and tensions that rippled through the corridors of power. The king's fury was not merely a reaction to the loss of an invaluable family heirloom, but the result of simmering doubts and long-standing disappointment that had built up within him over many years. These feelings had not been openly expressed, but they quietly existed, gradually eroding his trust and affection for those around him, especially within the family. The loss of the royal jewel was the final straw, causing all the long-held feelings of disappointment and doubt to erupt into an uncontrollable fury. It was not merely a material loss, but a blow to the honor and prestige of the royal family, something the king could not tolerate. What truly transpired behind the solid, magnificent walls of the palace, the symbol of England's supreme power and tradition? Was it Camilla who really took the missing royal jewel? If the answer is yes, what was the motive behind such an act? Could it have been a mere accidental oversight? Or is there a more intricate and calculated conspiracy unfolding quietly in the shadows of closed doors? These questions not only spark curiosity, but also raised suspicions about the underlying motives behind the event and whether it could be the beginning of larger upheavals within the royal family. The scandal is rocking the entire nation, raising serious questions about loyalty, power, and the secrets hidden behind the dazzling facade of the Windsor dynasty. The crown may glitter on the outside, but beneath that noble velvet could lie a dark truth few dare to imagine. Did Camilla truly take the ring, and if so, what was her motive? That question is now at the heart of the incident, shaking the entire British royal family. As we delve into the details of the tense confrontation between King Charles III and Queen Camilla at Buckingham Palace, we can't ignore the silent cracks that have formed between them for a long time. Cracks that may now be on the verge of breaking wide open. The story began when Camilla officially took on the role of Queen Consort. Initially, her role was seen by the public and the royal family as a traditional image. The wife standing behind her husband, supporting the king in ceremonial duties and maintaining the image of a devoted spouse. Like previous queens, she primarily carried out symbolic duties, representing the royal family at public events, and striving to uphold the image of a loyal woman supporting the king's position. Although these tasks were important, they were rarely highlighted or emphasized. However, over time, Camilla's role began to change subtly but significantly. She was no longer just a wife standing behind her husband, but gradually became a figure with considerable influence in the internal decisions of the royal family, as well as in foreign affairs. Her image shifted from a silent symbol to that of a woman with a voice and a more active role in significant matters. These changes not only altered the public's perception of her, but also impacted the royal family internally as she demonstrated a strong involvement and influence in important decision-making. Camilla's influence has been steadily increasing. She has started to appear independently at public events and participate in interviews without prior approval from King Charles or senior palace advisors. Some observers have pointed out that she is gradually breaking away from the traditional mold of a spouse. Historically, this role has been built around close coordination with the monarch, where the spouse typically plays a supportive role and maintains the image of the royal family. However, Camilla seems to be shifting this approach, demonstrating a clear autonomy and actively engaging in public decisions and activities. Camilla's growing autonomy has raised concerns among some within the royal family. This change not only erodes long-established customs and protocols, but also raises the question of whether Camilla is simply seeking her own voice, or if she is quietly preparing for a much more powerful position. These questions not only spark doubts about her future in the royal family, but also heighten tensions about her role moving forward as the power dynamics within the monarchy may be set to shift. An official change in her status sent shockwaves throughout the royal family and beyond. The royal website, traditionally a reflection of the monarchy's hierarchy and roles, quietly updated Camilla's title from Queen Consort to simply Queen. At first glance, this might seem like a subtle shift or a mere linguistic adjustment, but in the delicate world of royal protocol, this seemingly minor alteration carried significant implications. The adjustment was not without controversy. Reports from the media indicate that the change in Camilla's title has faced opposition from certain individuals, most notably King Charles himself. According to sources close to the royal family, while Charles is believed to support Camilla's increasingly prominent role in public life and royal duties, he was not entirely comfortable with the alteration of her official title. His hesitation partly stems from the fact that the title Queen Consort had been formally declared and publicly wished for Camilla by his late mother, Queen Elizabeth II. Adhering to the late Queen's wishes has long been regarded as a sacred and traditional obligation within the British royal family. Nevertheless, despite Queen Elizabeth II's clear directive, it appears that Charles ultimately gave reluctant approval for Camilla to be referred to simply and formally as Queen. This change, though seemingly minor in wording, carries deep symbolic significance as it reflects a shift in power and a redefinition of the monarchy's image in the public eye. For some, the decision is even seen as going against the late Queen's explicit intention, sparking controversy over whether royal tradition is being eroded in the face of modernization. The matter continues to raise questions about Camilla's true role and the complex balance between duty title and official recognition, both within the royal institution and among the public. Camilla's growing autonomy wasn't limited to ceremonial duties. She began making decisions that impacted the monarchy's daily operations, particularly concerning the management of King Charles's schedule and public engagements. Reports indicate Camilla independently canceled several of the king's scheduled appointments, citing that they didn't align with her personal interests or the direction she felt the monarchy should take. These actions were seen as signs of increasing self-assurance and demonstrated she was no longer a passive figure. When questioned about her decisions by royal aides and staff, Camilla responded candidly and unapologetically. She was reportedly heard to say, "It wouldn't do him any good. The Queen knows best." This statement clearly showcased her belief in her personal judgment and her expanding role within the monarchy. To some, this was necessary confidence. To others, it was a sign of overstepping boundaries. Camilla began making decisions without consulting King Charles. One of the actions widely considered a culmination point was her agreement to participate in an interview without his prior knowledge. This interview completely blindsided Charles and was a shocking move for the entire royal family. Camilla chose to appear in a private yet insightful conversation, and what she shared within it forever changed the trajectory of her role within the royal institution. The content of the interview was not only shocking, but utterly controversial. Camilla publicly discussed her vision for the future of the monarchy and revealed personal plans that had never before been shared publicly. More importantly, these plans had also never been discussed with King Charles. Camilla described the interview as a candid and authentic look into her personal views, but it quickly became the focal point of tension and suspicion as she spoke about strategies and initiatives she envisioned for the royal family. What shocked many close to the crown was Camilla's revelation of details about plans Charles had shared privately with her under the assumption they would be kept in absolute confidence. This betrayal deeply hurt Charles, as he had always seen Camilla as his most trusted confidant. Hearing private conversations exposed in the media felt like a blow to his trust. What should have only been behind-the-scenes strategic discussions about the monarchy's future now became public fodder. Camilla's openness about confidential information not only humiliated Charles, but also made him feel utterly betrayed, not just by his wife, but by the person he trusted more than anyone. For Charles, this betrayal was the last straw. He had long valued discretion and privacy, and the public exposure of his most intimate conversations was beyond his tolerance. For years he had been patient with the complexities of his marriage, but this action forced him to confront a painful truth: the rift between him and Camilla had become too wide to continue ignoring. Between Charles and Camilla, an undeniable rift has formed. It is time to confront her directly and hold her accountable for her actions. The future of their relationship and the monarchy itself hangs in the balance. One morning after Camilla's shocking interview, tension filled Buckingham Palace. Camilla was notably absent the previous evening, an unusual occurrence, especially amid the ongoing crisis. As hours passed, Charles grew visibly agitated. He was a man under immense pressure. Close sources described him pacing like a lost soul throughout the royal residence, breaking the usual calm that defines the palace. Witnesses could sense that something deeply troubling was unfolding. Upon learning the content of Camilla's interview, Charles demanded her immediate return to the palace. Yet he received no response from his wife. The situation escalated rapidly. The king was seen wandering the palace grounds, either waiting for her return or sending out a stream of frustrated messages. His anguish was palpable. This was no longer the composed king the public knew, but a man betrayed and isolated, finding no comfort from the partner he once trusted completely. When Camilla finally arrived at the palace the next morning, her demeanor was nothing short of cold and disdainful. She reportedly walked past staff with her head held high, pointedly ignoring their greetings. The entire space was filled with an anxious silence as she proceeded to the meeting room where Charles awaited. Camilla entered with an unsettling confidence, her gaze steely, her stride straight and rigid. The moment she crossed the threshold, one could distinctly feel a storm brewing. Charles stood in the center of the room, his eyes fixed on her. His face was a mask filled with barely suppressed fury. As their gazes met, he erupted. His voice trembling, he stated that the monarchy was not a stage for personal agendas. He emphasized that Camilla could not speak indiscriminately without considering the consequences. But the climax came when he questioned her loyalty, hinting at the betrayal he felt from her. Camilla showed no signs of remorse. Quite the opposite. She appeared more assured than ever. In the face of scrutiny, she stood tall and composed, her posture firm and her gaze steady. There was no hesitation in her voice, as she declared that she saw nothing wrong with her actions. To her, she had simply exercised her right. The right, she believed, came with her position as queen. She firmly emphasized that she was indeed the queen, and as such, she had every right to express her thoughts openly without apology or justification. This assertion, delivered with such certainty, struck a harsh and unexpected chord. To Charles, it felt like a stinging rebuke, not just of his authority, but of the delicate balance he had tried to maintain between public tradition and private emotion. However, the pain he felt did not stem solely from her bold words spoken in public. What truly cut deeper was something far more intimate and unspoken, an emotional undercurrent that had been lingering beneath the surface of their relationship for a long time. It was a truth both of them had quietly avoided, perhaps out of fear, pride, or a desire to keep peace. Now, with Camilla's unapologetic declaration, that long-ignored tension was exposed. The wounds it revealed were not fresh, but old and unresolved, quietly accumulating beneath years of compromise and royal duty. And in that moment, the hurt Charles felt was not just from what had been said, but from what had remained unsaid for far too long. What do you think hurt Charles the most? Camilla's harsh words, or the emotions that have been buried for many years? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like if you find this content interesting, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next dramatic stories. In that moment of peak tension, the king finally could not contain his long, simmering rage. His voice trembled, echoing through the room. He screamed, "You are the one who stole the royal jewels. You stole my ring." His accusation cut through the thick silence like a knife. He looked at Camilla with eyes full of hurt and fury. The answer seemed too clear and too painful. The room fell silent. The ring Charles referred to was no ordinary piece of jewelry. It was the king's personal insignia, a symbol of royal power, authority, and legacy. Losing it, or worse, having it stolen, was a fatal blow not only to him, but to the monarchy itself. King Charles's signet ring is a royal heirloom steeped in history more than just an accessory. It's a symbol of identity, personal style, and a familial connection spanning generations. First appearing publicly with him in the 1970s, the signet ring became an unmistakable hallmark of his royal attire. Its design and material reflect centuries of tradition. Crafted from Welsh gold weighing approximately 20 grams, the ring adheres to the classic style of royal jewelry, carrying within it both the past and future of the throne. Losing it isn't just losing a treasure. It's losing a piece of the soul of the legacy. King Charles's signet ring is far more than mere jewelry. It's a symbol of royal power and heritage, a sacred heirloom passed down through 3 generations, starting with Prince Andrew of Greece and Denmark, through Prince Philip, and then to Charles himself. Worn on his pinky finger, the ring embodies history, tradition, and a deep intergenerational bond within the royal family. For Charles, the ring represents the continuity between past and present, while for Prince William, the future heir to the throne, it's a tangible and spiritual link to his father. The loss of the ring isn't just a material loss. It's a profound emotional and symbolic blow, shaking the very foundations of the royal legacy. Immediately following the magnificent coronation at Buckingham Palace, a disturbing incident occurred. King Charles's precious signet ring mysteriously vanished. The news spread rapidly, creating an atmosphere of suspicion and tension within the royal family. Charles, usually composed, was deeply shocked this time. He was almost in a state of panic, unable to fathom how such an important item could be lost. The gravity of the event not only affected his personal life, but also shook the royal trust and responsibilities he bore. In the ensuing days, Buckingham Palace became the hub of an intense investigation. Palace staff and security teams searched every nook and cranny, meticulously looking for the ring. Despite their efforts, the search yielded no results, and the pressure mounted. In closed-door meetings, rumors began to circulate. Some believed the ring might have been sold or stolen by a royal family member or insider who had access to the king's private quarters. The narrative became even more dramatic, with suspicions that someone was exploiting the situation for personal gain. Amidst this crisis, one person's indifference stunned many Queen Camilla. While Charles was consumed by grief and worry, she remained composed, continuing her daily duties and making significant decisions without showing any concern or acknowledging the severity of the ring's disappearance. This cold demeanor fueled suspicions and tension between them like a smoldering fire threatening to ignite at any moment. When Charles grasped the gravity of the situation and began to suspect Camilla's involvement, the tension in the palace reached its breaking point. He couldn't endure the feeling of betrayal from his life partner, the one he had trusted most. Camilla's coldness and disdain during those days were like daggers piercing the king's heart. Every encounter between them was filled with suffocating silence, tension, and unspoken accusations. The rift between them could no longer be hidden, signaling an inevitable confrontation and unforeseen consequences for both their personal relationship and the monarchy. While Charles grappled with the pain of losing his ring, a sacred symbol of royal heritage, Camilla seemed to be forging ahead with her own agenda. She disregarded the cost to her husband, making bold, unilateral moves in matters of state. For her, the ring's disappearance was merely a minor inconvenience. Camilla continued down her chosen path, unhesitatingly dismissing any worries or potential consequences that could impact their relationship and the monarchy. Everything truly erupted when Camilla's recent interview was released. Initially intended to demonstrate unity and strengthen the monarchy's image, it instead exposed a deep rift. Camilla's words and actions crossed a line, pushing their fragile relationship to its breaking point. Charles, already on the edge due to the missing ring, was now more incensed than ever. The fiery confrontation behind closed doors became inevitable, marking a painful turning point in their relationship. Looking back, the relationship between Charles and Camilla has always been rife with tension, arguments, and hurt. Behind the royal glamour lies a deeply emotional story scrutinized by the public and media for decades. Camilla was often depicted as the villain, the one who broke up Charles's marriage to Princess Diana, becoming the target of relentless public scorn and media criticism. That vilification profoundly wounded her personal life, creating scars that were slow to heal. Not only did she endure the harshness of public scrutiny, but Camilla also felt lonely and betrayed by the very husband she had trusted most. She always hoped Charles would step up to defend her honor and dignity, that he would use his power and influence to counter the wave of attacks. In reality, she frequently felt like an outsider abandoned in a battle beyond her control. The wounds from the past were never truly healed. That resentment and pain simmered like a slow-burning fire within Camilla's heart. Though Charles and Camilla eventually married, the hurt and bitterness from the past persisted like a quiet undercurrent between them. Behind their outwardly harmonious public appearances, many royal observers believe they never truly overcame their deep-seated conflicts. Camilla harbored feelings of abandonment, while Charles carried the guilt and remorse from previous events. These scars were never fully resolved, laying the groundwork for new conflicts. In recent months, their relationship grew even more strained as Camilla's power increased. Rumors of her growing influence circulated within royal circles, causing concern among many. Camilla no longer accepted a secondary role. Instead, she demonstrated independence and assertiveness through significant decisions, often disregarding many traditional protocols. Her candid public interviews, where she openly expressed her views, further fueled speculation about her ambition and preparation for an even more powerful position within the monarchy. These moves were not fully acknowledged by Charles, leading to underlying conflicts and mounting tension. Beyond the controversies surrounding titles or roles within the royal family, Camilla is still seen by many as the woman who played a part in the breakdown of the marriage between Charles and Princess Diana. Even as time has passed, Diana's image remains vividly etched in the hearts of the British public and people around the world. She was not merely a fashion icon or a royal figure, she was the embodiment of kindness, compassion, and grace. The pain she endured during her marriage to Charles only deepened public sympathy for her, elevating her to the status of a beloved figure who seemed to represent the emotional truth behind the palace walls. In that context, no matter how much Camilla tries to present herself differently, it is difficult for her to escape the long shadow cast by Diana's legacy. For this reason, Camilla's increasingly prominent presence in her new role has not only stirred conflicting reactions within the royal family, but has also reignited a wave of complex emotions among the public. To many, seeing Camilla in a position that Diana might have rightfully held is difficult to accept. Their reaction is not just to Camilla as she is today, but to the unresolved memories of a painful past. Her presence, even though now officially recognized, serves as a reminder of what was lost, not only the collapse of a royal marriage, but the enduring image of a woman who left an indelible mark on the soul of a nation. Their story was not one of public conflict or dramatic confrontations. It was a quiet tale of unresolved emotions, missed opportunities, and royal duties that shaped every decision. What began as a love triangle gradually evolved into a lifelong tension. As the years passed, both held firmly to their positions, continuing their roles within the monarchy with silent determination, but never truly side by side, duty over affection. She understood that many within the monarchy and the public held strong opinions about her. Determined not to let the past or others' expectations define her, she slowly and steadily began taking on more royal responsibilities. She immersed herself in charity work, stood by Charles at official events, and learned to move with grace and poise within the royal world. She was there to contribute. However, even with this change, their relationship remained formal. It never evolved into a deep connection. There was a courteous distance between them. At royal events, they were often seen standing near each other, smiling when expected, exchanging words when necessary. But their smiles rarely reached their eyes, and their conversations lacked warmth. To the outside world, they appeared polite. But to the more observant, it was clear that their relationship was more about maintaining appearances than enjoying each other's company. Much of this quiet tension stemmed from the differences in how they viewed their roles. As Camilla grew increasingly prominent and solidified her position within the royal family, King Charles began to feel sidelined like a monarch, overshadowed by his own wife. According to close sources, this created a deep sense of unease within him. Charles didn't want to be seen as a mere supporting figure in the royal narrative. He was determined to reclaim control and his true standing. He wanted to remind the public that he remained the sole head of state, holding the highest authority and responsibility within the British monarchy. One of the most pivotal moments in this struggle to regain power and respect came when Charles demanded the return of a precious pinky ring. This ring was far more than just a piece of jewelry. It symbolized his very soul and was a treasured emblem of his status and authority. Claiming the ring back was a clear statement that despite the changes around him, he was still the leader who could not be overshadowed or replaced in the eyes of the public or within the royal family itself. The demand for the ring's return made the atmosphere inside the palace unbearably tense. Witnesses described it as nothing less than an emotional explosion. Charles, filled with pent-up disappointment and fierce anger, directly accused Camilla of taking the ring he had been desperately searching for. His voice was laden with resentment, urgently demanding the immediate return of his sacred treasure, as if the ring was an inseparable part of him. Camilla remained silent at first, her eyes narrowing as she carefully weighed every word she was about to say, leaving those around her unable to predict her true intentions. Finally, with a cold and defiant tone, she uttered a sentence that seemed to freeze the entire palace. "What belongs to the king is mine." This statement was a powerful declaration, affirming her undeniable claim to power and status in this tense confrontation. Camilla's words landed like a fatal blow, cold and powerful, stunning Charles. Without hesitation, she retrieved the ring from her purse and placed it on the table before him, returning it with ease but loaded with meaning. This scene only ignited Charles's fury further, his frustration boiling over, causing him to explode. "You're done!" He roared, his voice unmistakably conveying pain, betrayal, and indignation. Instead of retorting with words or mirroring his anger, Camilla calmly turned and walked out of the room. Charles could only watch in stunned silence, confusion evident on his face. Those within the royal household who had long observed the strained dynamic between the couple recognized that the rift between them had reached an irreparable point. Their already fragile relationship now seemed to be officially broken. Rumors began to spread about Camilla's true motives behind claiming the heirloom ring. According to close sources, Camilla had long shown a particular interest in the ring, not only because of its royal symbolic value, but also due to its deep personal significance to her. For Camilla, the ring was more than just a symbol of power. It was a way to affirm her increasingly solid position within the monarchy, a tangible sign of recognition and respect she sought to obtain. However, Charles viewed the ring very differently. To him, it was not merely a piece of jewelry or a symbol of authority, but the very soul and identity tied to his deep feelings for his family and his role within the royal family. That is why when Camilla repeatedly demanded to possess the ring, Charles firmly refused. This refusal was not just about protecting a material object, but also about safeguarding the emotional and personal values that the ring represented. Charles's refusal acted as a catalyst, prompting Camilla to take unilateral action and acquire the ring herself. This wasn't an impulsive act, but a tacit declaration of her power and independence. This action crossed the delicate line between authority and trust, shattering the balance in their relationship. The seemingly inanimate ring had now become the catalyst for a fierce emotional explosion, shaking the fragile foundations of the royal family. Currently, Camilla is reportedly on a temporary retreat from royal duties, leaving the palace in an eerie silence. The question isn't just whether she will return, but whether this royal marriage can withstand the unprecedented shock stemming from a small symbol like the ring. The future of the British monarchy stands at a volatile crossroads, and the world watches every next development with bated breath. What do you think will happen next? Will Camilla return, or will she remain silent forever? Can this rift ever be healed? Don't forget to leave a comment with 1 if you sympathize with Camilla, or 0 if you have a different opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to share them in the comments below. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the latest updates about the British royal family. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Breaking. King Charles has officially ordered an investigation into Meghan and Harry, and the palace is in crisis. The tension between the royal family and the couple is escalating, and the consequences could be far-reaching. What does this mean for their future with the monarchy? Stick around to find out the latest details in this explosive new chapter. The story of Meghan and Harry is capturing the attention of the world. What do you think about this investigation? Is it a necessary move by King Charles, or will it just make things worse? If you agree with King Charles's action, leave a 1, and if not, comment 0. Enjoy the video and don't forget to leave a sub for support. King Charles has officially launched an investigation into Meghan Markle and Harry, a pivotal decision in the history of the British royal family. After a series of controversies and scandals, the royal family could no longer ignore Meghan and Harry's actions and statements. This decision has not only captured public attention, but also marks a new chapter in the royal family's internal conflict, creating a significant turning point in the recent history of the British monarchy. This is said to be the first time in British royal history that an official investigation has been launched into members of the family. This decision not only marks King Charles's direct intervention, but also sends a strong statement that the reputation and unity of the royal family must be protected at all costs. Is this a fair response to Meghan and Harry's actions, or is it simply a strategy to restore the royal family's image in the eyes of the public? Will Meghan and Harry take this seriously enough to ensure such an investigation is truly thorough? Meghan Markle, a woman with her own career, joined the British royal family through her marriage to Prince Harry in 2018. Upon entering the royal family, Meghan's image quickly drew global media attention. However, shortly after, her relationship with other royal family members began to face challenges. Internal issues gradually surfaced through interviews and public controversies, putting the royal family in a difficult position. Meghan began to share her experiences regarding allegations of racism within the royal family, as well as the injustices she claimed to have faced during her time living there. After stepping down from official duties, Meghan and Harry continued to criticize the family, raising serious questions about the monarchy's lineage and finances. Against this backdrop, King Charles's decision to intervene comes as no surprise. The longer these issues persist, the more serious and uncontrollable they become, especially with King Charles now on the throne. King Charles cannot allow this situation to continue, as it not only affects his personal reputation, but also undermines the stability and image of the royal family. Meghan and Harry have sparked significant public outrage, and if the royal family does not respond promptly, the instability could spread and lead to chaos within the institution. Furthermore, as the British royal family is a traditional institution, publicly airing internal disputes has severely damaged the family's image. As the leader, King Charles cannot let these scandals continue to tarnish the institution he has inherited. The official investigation initiated by King Charles is not only a strategic response to protect the royal family's reputation, but also a way to consolidate his power, demonstrating that he can effectively handle complex issues. However, what's noteworthy is that this decision may not only shed light on the ongoing problems, but also spark new controversies. The continued division of the royal family in the eyes of the public seems inevitable. Will King Charles be able to maintain fairness in this investigation, or will his decision be misunderstood? This investigation is not only an attempt to resolve internal conflicts, but could also be seen as a form of punishment for Meghan and Harry, who have had a strained relationship with the royal family for years. Does this investigation genuinely aim to clarify the issues, or is it simply an effort to address internal tensions? These questions are not only for the royal family, but also a primary concern for the public. Every decision and action by the royal family carries profound consequences and cannot be taken lightly. In his effort to protect the royal institution, King Charles is fully aware that these actions could significantly impact family relationships. From maintaining stability to addressing members no longer engaged in official duties, the investigation launched aims not only to clarify the conflicts, but also to reflect King Charles's ability to handle internal family issues within an institution under immense pressure from the media and public opinion. King Charles's decision to open the investigation could be seen as an effort to restore his public authority, but is it a comprehensive solution to all the issues, or simply an action to preserve personal power within the royal family? Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have had a tumultuous relationship with the royal family. Ever since they decided to step down from their official roles in 2020. Since then, the couple has consistently made public statements, including explosive interviews and remarks criticizing the royal family. These statements have made them the focal point of international media and stirred public debate. Meghan not only exposed her personal struggles, but also strongly criticized deeper issues within the royal family, particularly allegations of racism. Meghan openly shared her experiences with racism during her time as a member of the royal family, particularly in her 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey. Meghan revealed that there were conversations within the royal family about the skin color of her son Archie, leading many to question the sincerity of the royal family and the core values they claim to uphold. These accusations shocked the public and sparked waves of outrage, even though they were not backed by concrete evidence. They have damaged the royal family's image, especially as they touch on deep fundamental issues within the British royal family. Meghan and Harry did not stop at allegations of racism, but also raised questions about the royal family's bloodline, particularly concerning their children. Although these questions were not supported by concrete evidence, their public airing has led the public to start questioning the transparency and legitimacy of the royal lineage. These statements not only caused confusion about the relationships within the family, but also made many wonder if the royal family was hiding something. Furthermore, Meghan and Harry's actions have prompted the public to question whether they are using the royal family's fame to build their own careers. After stepping down from royal duties, Meghan and Harry turned to commercial activities and personal branding through lucrative contracts and charitable projects. This has sparked controversy over whether they are genuinely seeking personal freedom or simply exploiting their royal status to make money. The public began to question the couple's true motives, especially as there is little information made public about how they manage their finances and commercial contracts. Questions about the origins of these funds and how they are being used have further raised concerns about a lack of transparency and whether these lucrative deals might affect the public's respect for the royal family. The public accusations and lack of restraint in Meghan and Harry's statements have deepened the divide not only within the royal family but also in global public opinion. These actions may have negatively affected the royal family's image, leading many to question the sincerity and decisiveness of the monarchy. Can Meghan and Harry convincingly explain their actions and statements, or is this simply a way to regain the personal freedom they desire? The investigation initiated by King Charles is not a simple decision, as it is not only a response to the personal conflict between Meghan and other family members, but also a move to protect the stability and image of the royal family. The royal family is not just a regular institution, but a symbol of the nation and long-standing traditional values. Therefore, allowing members to cause public conflict would severely affect not only family relationships, but also the image of an entire nation. As the leader, King Charles cannot continue to ignore the disruption caused by Meghan and Harry, especially when their statements and actions have stirred up turmoil not only within the royal family, but also in global public opinion. The official investigation into Meghan and Harry has been announced as a strong move to protect the integrity and reputation of the royal family. This is not an easy decision, as it could further strain relationships between family members. However, in the context of the royal family facing constant criticism from the media and the public, King Charles's decision is not only a firm step, but also a statement that the unity and reputation of the royal family must be protected at all costs. The purpose of the investigation is not only to clarify the allegations made by Meghan and Harry, but also to verify the authenticity of the information they have made public, ranging from accusations of racism to doubts about the royal family's lineage and finances. As the head of the royal family, King Charles cannot allow unresolved issues to continue affecting the integrity of the family. This investigation is not only aimed at clarifying the events that have occurred, but also at helping the royal family control the baseless stories that are circulating in society. However, the question remains whether this decision will help the royal family maintain its reputation without causing unnecessary conflict or division. With the investigation now public, can the royal family avoid creating new rifts, especially between King Charles and members of the family, including Harry, to whom he has shown much affection in the past? The decision to launch this investigation reflects the responsibility King Charles feels toward the royal family, the generations that came before him, and the nation. The royal family is not just an ordinary family, but a symbol of the country and its long-standing traditional values. Therefore, allowing members to create public conflict would not only affect family relationships, but also harm the image of the entire nation. With his leadership role and responsibility to uphold the traditions of the royal family, King Charles may feel that there is no other choice but to open an investigation to clarify any issues. This investigation will not only help King Charles and the royal family address the accusations made by Meghan and Harry, but could also provide an opportunity to establish clearer guidelines for how the royal family should operate and behave in the future. The investigation launched by King Charles may uncover unresolved issues from the past, but another crucial aspect to consider is how the investigation is conducted. Will it ensure objectivity and fairness, or will it be influenced by external factors, particularly since King Charles is the head of the family and could face pressure from various sides? His involvement in the investigation might lead some to believe it is an act of bias, or simply a way to solidify his personal power within the family. A public investigation could clarify any doubts, but it could also increase division within the royal family if not carried out properly. This investigation is certainly raising important questions about fairness and King Charles's involvement. What do you think about the fairness of this investigation? Is it a fair move or simply a way to consolidate his power? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. This raises the question of whether King Charles can handle the investigation fairly and impartially, and whether he can create an environment where everyone from Meghan and Harry to other family members is given a fair opportunity to be heard and treated justly. Maintaining the integrity of the royal family and handling internal issues delicately is something King Charles must do to protect the family's reputation. This investigation also raises a significant question about whether the royal family can safeguard its reputation without creating further instability. Will this investigation help clarify pressing issues and restore the royal family's integrity? And how long will its impact last? When the news of King Charles's official investigation into Meghan Markle and Prince Harry was made public, the couple's response was far from subdued. Meghan and Harry, who have become the focal point of media and public attention, once again drew attention by openly expressing their dissatisfaction with the investigation. While some may have expected them to accept the decision calmly, the reality was quite different. Meghan relentlessly criticized the royal family and made public statements about what she perceives as the unjust treatment that she and Harry have endured. Meghan publicly criticized the royal family in a recent interview, emphasizing that she felt hurt because the family did not protect her and Harry from public accusations and criticism. She described the investigation as an attack on their dignity and their right to personal choice. These statements not only heightened tensions within the family, but also forced the public to reconsider Meghan's attitude toward the royal family. Although he has not directly participated in recent interviews, Harry also expressed his disagreement with the investigation through Meghan's statements. Meghan and Harry, with their strong statements, continue to expose what they perceive as long-standing issues within the royal family. However, rather than acknowledging the necessity of the investigation to protect the family's reputation, they continue to criticize it publicly. This not only complicates the situation further, but also leaves many feeling disappointed with the couple's attitude. Many view the investigation as an opportunity to clarify issues and resolve disagreements within the royal family. However, with Meghan and Harry's strong resistance, the question remains whether their continuous opposition will yield positive results for both them and the royal family. Although Meghan and Harry may be media stars returning to the royal family and regaining public acceptance, may not be easy if they fail to adjust their behavior. Continuing to resist without self-awareness will only distance them from the family and make it harder for the public to sympathize. It can be said that Meghan and Harry's response has highlighted an undeniable reality: their shamelessness and lack of self-awareness as they refuse to reflect on their actions and the impact they may cause. This not only reflects an issue in their relationship with the royal family, but also underscores the deep divide between a responsible family and individuals who want to protect their personal freedom without fully understanding the long-term consequences of their actions. King Charles's decision to launch an investigation into Meghan Markle and Harry is not just an administrative action, but also a bold and strategic move. Many in the public and media have had mixed reactions to this decision. Some argue that King Charles is being too harsh and decisive, while others believe it is a necessary action to protect the royal family's reputation, which has been severely damaged by the scandals surrounding Meghan and Harry. From allegations of racism to doubts about the royal lineage and finances, King Charles can no longer turn a blind eye. As the head of the royal family, he understands that the family's reputation cannot be further jeopardized. However, the big question remains whether King Charles's action is too severe or truly necessary to protect the integrity of the family and the monarchy. Some may argue that King Charles has been too harsh in handling the situation, as his decision to open an investigation could escalate tensions within the royal family, which has long been known for maintaining a flawless public image. Bringing an official investigation into the spotlight can only deepen the existing rifts, not only making Meghan and Harry feel the strain, but also potentially making it difficult for other family members to resolve the current situation. While King Charles's decision may lead to a public investigation that could diminish the royal family's reputation in the eyes of the public, he cannot ignore the actions of Meghan and Harry, as these scandals not only affect them, but also threaten the stability and reputation of the monarchy. The decision to open an investigation is a bold move, but is it the only way to address a long-standing issue that has increasingly become more serious? King Charles must not only protect his family, but also maintain the image of the entire institution, which requires firm and decisive decisions in such a long-standing family tradition as the British royal family. Allowing scandals and conflicts to unfold in silence is simply unacceptable. Protecting the royal family's reputation is of utmost importance. Any weakening of the family's image can have severe long-term consequences, ranging from losing public support to damaging international relations. As the head of the royal family, King Charles cannot rely on softer measures. The scandals created by Meghan and Harry are not just personal matters, they affect the entire institution. The decision to launch an official investigation could lead to a comprehensive solution to these issues, while also sending a clear message: the royal family will not tolerate actions that harm their unity and reputation. However, the big question remains whether these actions will truly help the royal family regain a positive image, or only deepen the rifts within the family and create new conflicts. This is the question King Charles and other family members must face. In a large and complex family like the royal family, every decision not only affects the members, but can also ripple out, impacting the entire nation and international relations. Protecting the royal family's image in the eyes of the public is crucial, but that doesn't mean sacrificing personal relationships and familial bonds. From Meghan and Harry's perspective, they may feel attacked by a power structure they no longer wish to be a part of. However, their continued resistance and refusal to reflect on their actions only complicate the situation further. They seem to overlook the fact that their opposition, rather than helping to resolve the issues, is only making everything more tense. Continuing to fight with the royal family while personal freedom doesn't provide any practical solutions for either side only deepens the divide. As the head of the family, King Charles must carefully consider decisions like these. Can he change his strategy and adopt softer measures to avoid hurting family members, or will strictness and decisiveness be the only way to protect the royal family's reputation? This is the question he must answer in the current context where every action and decision could lead to unforeseen ripple effects. The future of Meghan and Harry within the British royal family is a topic that not only captures attention, but also raises questions about the relationship between individuals and the institution. Although the couple stepped down from their official royal roles in 2020, conflicts and controversies continue to simmer. Their actions, from publicly criticizing the family to making claims about race, lineage, and finances, have not only caused divisions within the royal family, but also profoundly affected the way the public perceives them. The investigation initiated by King Charles further clarifies the boundaries between those who have left the royal family and those who remain members of this institution. However, the biggest question remains whether Meghan and Harry will ever return to the royal family in the future, or if this relationship has been completely severed. While they have renounced their royal duties, the royal family remains a part of their lives, and they cannot fully disconnect from these ties. Looking ahead, there is some hope for reconciliation between the two sides, but this is not an easy prospect, especially as the investigation continues, and Meghan and Harry remain outspoken in their resistance. A crucial factor in reconciliation will be the willingness to change attitudes and behaviors. If Meghan and Harry wish to reintegrate with the royal family, they will need to confront long-standing issues. This will not only require regret and acknowledgement of their mistakes, but also a shift in how they communicate and handle relationships within the family. In reality, they may have to relinquish some of their personal demands in order to reconcile and accept the principles and rules that have existed for centuries within the British royal family. Whether the royal family is willing to accept Meghan and Harry back after everything that has happened in the past is not a simple question, especially after the public criticism and accusations that have caused chaos within the family. The answer cannot be immediate. The royal family is not an institution that is easily changed, and accepting the return of a member after such public controversies cannot happen overnight. The relationship between Meghan, Harry, and the other family members cannot return to what it was before without changes from both sides. Especially now that King Charles has officially announced an investigation to clarify the issues related to Meghan and Harry. With their current position in society, Meghan and Harry have been able to build a significant personal career. From deals with major companies to charitable and media projects, this might make them feel that they no longer need to return to the royal family. However, this raises another question: can they maintain their public image without being linked to the royal family? Although they have built their own public identities, Meghan and Harry are still primarily known to the public because of their connection to the royal family. This could create a conflict for them, as part of them may still long for recognition from the family and institution they left behind. So can Meghan and Harry reconcile with the royal family after everything that has happened? The answer cannot be immediate, but clearly only time and change from both sides can bring them closer together. Whether reconciliation happens or not, one thing is certain: Meghan and Harry will always be part of an important story within the British royal family, whether inside or outside of it. These are questions we are still waiting for answers to, and only time will give us a clearer view. However, one thing is certain: this investigation has opened a new chapter in the lives of the couple and the British royal family. The truth will be revealed, and we all wait to see whether reconciliation is possible or if the rift will only deepen. Thank you for watching today's video. If you have any thoughts or opinions on this topic, don't forget to leave a comment below. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming videos. See you in the next one. Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Today we will learn about the shocking news. Prince William has finally officially succeeded to the throne. At the same time, Princess Anne also unexpectedly revealed King Charles's emotional last wish before retiring from the scene. This is a historic moment of power transfer, promising to change the future of the British royal family. So what really happened? Let's find out right away. Do you follow the news of the British royal family? If so, comment number 1. If not, leave number 0. Now let's explore the story of Prince William's accession to the throne and the last words of King Charles. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel to support me to make more good videos. The great room suddenly became very quiet when Princess Anne entered, holding a sealed letter in her hand. There was no music, no announcements, just a quiet, peaceful silence that made everyone turn to look at her. The air was heavy, as if something very important was about to happen. Princess Anne did not need to say a word. Her solemn expression and the letter in her hand told everyone that this was an important moment. Without hesitation, she walked straight into the middle of the room. The royal family quickly gathered around her, their faces showing concern and sadness. This letter was not for the public, not for the news, not for the cameras, not for anyone outside that room. It was a private message meant only for those closest to King Charles, a final farewell entrusted to someone he trusted to handle it with care. Princess Anne, always known for her strength and composure, gently opened the envelope. The sound of tearing paper seemed louder than usual in the silent room. Everyone held their breath, waiting to hear what the letter said. No one said a word, all knowing that this was the final message from someone they loved dearly: their father, their leader, and their guide. Anne's voice remained steady as she began to read. She began with simple but powerful words: "His Majesty's last wish." In that moment, it seemed as if the world stood still. But the letter was not filled with sad goodbyes, nor was it a message of regret. It was filled with warmth and kindness. Even in his final moments, King Charles was thinking about his family and his country. Many people thought that the letter might contain personal messages for each family member, perhaps a kind word or a special memory. But King Charles had something else in mind. He was not thinking about himself. He was thinking about the future of his family. His final wish was simple and clear. He wanted his family to be strong, close-knit, and fully supportive of Prince William. During the months that King Charles was battling cancer, Prince William quietly took on more responsibilities. He appeared at major events, made important decisions, and became the face of the family during an uncertain time. Even though he was not yet king, people began to see him as the leader the family would need. When Princess Anne read the letter, the significance of the moment became even clearer. The letter was more than a farewell. It was a quiet instruction. King Charles reminded his family to stand by William to support him and to keep the royal family stable. He asked them all to ensure that William would never face hardship alone. Some of the family felt tears welling up in their eyes. The message had touched their hearts. It was not about power or wealth. It was about love, duty, and protecting something special. King Charles asked them to keep the peace in the family, to be kind to each other, and to be strong in the face of hardship. When Princess Anne finished reading, the room was silent. There was no applause, no loud reactions. But everyone in that room felt the same thing, a silent promise passed between them. Despite the heavy sadness, there was also a sense of togetherness, as if they had all silently agreed to honor the king's wishes. But why was Princess Anne the one to read the will? Why not a member of Parliament, or even Camilla? Let's take a look at the unwavering strength of Princess Anne. Princess Anne has always been an important part of the royal family. She is known for her hard work, loyalty, and quiet strength. King Charles often trusted her with important matters because she was careful and trustworthy. While others pursued fame, Anne quietly focused on her duties. Her story is not one of fame, but of resilience and steadfast service. For more than 50 years, Princess Anne remained one of the busiest members of the royal family. In the 1970s, she was known for attending more than 500 official events a year, while some criticized the royal privilege. Anne has earned deep respect for her unwavering dedication and service. She works closely with Queen Elizabeth II, helping to keep the monarchy relevant to the people of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. Anne's work ethic was instilled in her from a young age, laying a solid foundation for her later years of service. At the age of 19, Anne joined Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip on an important royal tour of Australia and New Zealand. This trip not only marked the beginning of her official royal career, but also marked a turning point in her journey as a confident and responsible member of the royal family. In the same year, she began participating in charitable activities, opening a long journey of commitment and dedication to the community that she always cherished for many decades to come. Anne's steadfastness and dedication inspired many generations, creating an image of a royal family that was not only solemn, but also profound and humane. In 1970, she became president of Save the Children UK, a role she held until 2017. For nearly 5 decades, Anne worked to help disadvantaged children, showing kindness and concern for those in need. These efforts helped to portray the royal family as compassionate and responsible. While her brothers often drew attention for their personal stories, Princess Anne remained quietly devoted to her duties. She stayed out of the spotlight and focused on what mattered. After Queen Elizabeth died in 2022, Anne quickly pledged her allegiance to King Charles as she had done to their mother. At King Charles's coronation in May 2023, Anne was appointed Gold Stick in Waiting, a historic role as the king's personal guard. She led a 6,000-horse mounted guard of honor, reflecting her importance in royal tradition and the trust her brother placed in her. In November 2022, Parliament also appointed Anne a Counselor of State, a rare honor traditionally reserved for the spouse of a monarch and the next 4 adult heirs. Princess Anne's lifelong service earned her a pivotal role in the royal family, where she not only signed official documents, but also attended important meetings on behalf of the king in his absence. While many other royals withdrew or suffered from health problems, Anne's steady leadership helped keep the monarchy running smoothly, ensuring that royal traditions and responsibilities were upheld. By 2024, Princess Anne had once again established herself as the most active member of the royal family, completing 172 official engagements, nearly a third of the royal family's total. With King Charles focusing on his health and Princess Catherine reducing her public presence, Anne took on more important duties, frequently visiting lands where no royals had previously been. Her contributions were not limited to the UK. In February 2024, she represented the UK in Sri Lanka to mark the country's 75th anniversary of independence, demonstrating the strong and close relationship between the two Commonwealth nations. Not only that, Princess Anne is also very interested in preserving the history and connection with the military. In May 2024, she visited Guernsey and Sark to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the liberation in World War II, showing deep respect for the sacrifices of the previous generation. As a holder of many military honors, she regularly visits soldiers and veterans, attends important military events, thereby demonstrating her sincere interest and long-standing responsibility for the armed forces of the United Kingdom. Her dedication and steadfastness are a symbol of the strength and enduring traditions of the royal family. Anne never forgot those who were often overlooked. In 1991, she founded the Princess Royal Trust for Carers, which provides support for those caring for loved ones without pay or public recognition. Even when the trust changed its name to the Carers Trust in 2012, Anne remained closely involved. In 1976, Anne made history by becoming the first British royal to compete in the Olympics, demonstrating her equestrian skills in Montreal. It was more than just a show, it was a reflection of her true passion. Her daughter Zara later followed in her footsteps, continuing the family's Olympic connection. Anne has also spoken out about the future of the royal family, expressing support for King Charles's plans for a smaller monarchy, but cautioning against cutting back too much. She believes there must be enough active members of the royal family to meet public expectations. While cost savings are important, Anne has stressed that the continued presence and contribution of the royal family is equally essential to maintaining public trust and support. Anne also served as a trusted advisor to Prince William, helping him navigate public life and royal duties, and emphasizing that actions often speak louder than words. By 2023 and 2024, polls had ranked her as one of the most respected and trusted members of the royal family. While many others were mired in scandal, Anne remained steadfast and was admired for her straightforward, uncompromising approach. Prince William was destined to become king from the moment he was born. He was born on June 21, 1982, at St. Mary's Hospital in London. William was the first child of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. At birth, he became second in line to the British throne after his father. Even though he was just a tiny baby, many believed that he was destined to become king one day. From the beginning, William's life was watched by the public. He appeared in official family portraits and attended royal events with his parents. His family gave him sweet, endearing nicknames. His mother, Princess Diana, called him Wombat, and his younger brother, Prince Harry, affectionately called him Willie. Despite being a prince with royal duties, William was just a boy with a playful heart. As a child, William was full of energy, loved being outdoors, was curious about everything, and could be a little mischievous at times. Princess Diana wanted to give her sons as normal a life as possible. Despite being a royal, she made sure they saw the real world. She took them to amusement parks, fast food restaurants, homeless shelters, and hospitals. Diana hoped these experiences would teach them about kindness, caring for others, and the importance of compassion. Do you think Prince William deserves to succeed to the throne now? If you support William, leave a comment with number 2. And if you still think King Charles should continue, leave a comment with number 5. Your opinion is important, so don't be shy about sharing. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the latest videos about the British royal family. As William grew older, he changed from a mischievous boy to a calm and thoughtful young man. When he started boarding school, people found him to be quiet and serious. He acted very mature. His mother often looked to him for comfort and called him her little sage. He became someone she trusted and relied on, especially in difficult times. In 1991, when William was only 9 years old, he made his first official public appearance. This took place during a visit to Llandaff Cathedral in Wales on St. David's Day. He then joined his parents and younger brother on royal tours, including a trip to Canada. William learned about his royal duties and responsibilities from an early age, but life wasn't always easy for William. His parents divorced in 1996. Then, just a year later, a terrible tragedy struck Princess Diana died in a car crash in Paris on August 31, 1997. William was 15 at the time. He was staying with Prince Harry and their father, Prince Charles, at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. The very next day, Prince Charles had to share the heartbreaking news with his sons. The world watched Princess Diana's funeral on September 6th. People saw the two young princes walk behind their mother's coffin with their father-grandfather, Prince Philip, and Uncle Charles Spencer. It was a heartbreaking moment. William and Harry tried to keep their spirits up, but everyone could see their sadness. The memory has stayed with many people around the world. For William, it was a life-changing moment. He had to grow up quickly after losing his mother. After Diana's death, William went on to study at Eton College, one of the most prestigious schools in England. This was different from what his family had done. His father and grandfather had attended Gordonstoun School in Scotland. At Eton, William studied geography, biology, and art history. He also enjoyed sports such as rowing and water polo. Although he tried to live like a normal teenager, people kept a close eye on him. After finishing his studies at Eton, William decided to take a gap year. He traveled the world and learned many new things. He did military training, worked with charities in Chile, and visited Africa. This time helped him gain a better understanding of the world and the problems people face in their daily lives. In 2001, William began university at St. Andrews in Scotland, studying geography. He lived in a dormitory with other students and got a taste of what life was like as a normal university student. It was there that he met Catherine Middleton, known as Kate. At first, they were just friends, but their friendship soon turned into love. Years later, they married, and Kate became the Princess of Wales. After university, William followed in the royal tradition by joining the military. In 2006, he began training at the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst. He became a second lieutenant in the Blues and Royals part of the Royal Cavalry. He then trained as a helicopter pilot for the Royal Air Force's Search and Rescue Team. By 2008, William had earned his pilot's certificate. From 2009 to 2013, William was stationed at RAF Valley in Anglesey, Wales. He served as a co-pilot on Sea King helicopters and participated in over 150 rescue missions. These missions saved many lives and showed William the hardships that ordinary people go through. This experience taught him about responsibility and duty, not only as a prince but also as a human being. At the same time, William began to take on more royal duties at the age of 21, becoming a state councillor, a position that allowed him to carry out official duties in the Queen's absence. He also began to make major royal visits, notably to New Zealand in 2005, to honor World War II veterans. These trips helped him build close relationships with Commonwealth countries, where he was always warmly welcomed. William's royal duties have taken him to places like Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, where he is loved not only for his title, but also for his kindness and genuine concern for people. In times of trouble, such as natural disasters or national crises, William has always shown courage, compassion, and calmness. He is a symbol of comfort and hope, representing the royal family with grace. Even while serving in the military, William did not abandon his royal duties. In 2010, he served as a co-pilot on a rescue mission near Liverpool. A year later, in 2012, he helped rescue sailors from a cargo ship in distress in the Irish Sea, a dangerous but rewarding task. These experiences helped William mature and prepare him for his future leadership role. He spent 6 weeks in the Falkland Islands carrying out search and rescue missions, playing a key role in military operations in the area. William's active military service ended in 2013, but he has maintained close ties with the armed forces, supporting the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight and regularly attending important military events and commemorations. Unlike Prince Harry, who stepped back from royal duties in 2020, William has chosen to remain and fully fulfill his responsibilities to the royal family and country. Along with Princess Catherine, William has taken on more work as the Queen has aged, becoming a much-loved couple. Together, they have focused on raising awareness of mental health, protecting children's rights, and caring for the environment, issues that are vital to modern society. Their dedication and compassion have been widely praised, demonstrating strong leadership and deep responsibility. Over the years, William's life has been shaped by patience, responsibility, and kindness. Rather than rushing to the throne, he has chosen to learn, serve, and quietly grow into his role. Experiences ranging from personal pain, military duties, and royal duties have shaped him into a thoughtful, dedicated, and trustworthy future king. Prince William has been busy with royal duties, attending events, and carrying great hopes on his shoulders since birth. Everyone knew he would one day be king. His life has been filled with happy and sad moments, but everything changed dramatically when a lovely young girl named Catherine Middleton, affectionately known as Kate, entered his life at a very important time. As William grew up and began to discover himself, Kate came into his life. They first met while students at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. What started as a simple friendship gradually developed into a deeper relationship. The couple shared happy moments, supported each other in life, and cherished the simple things away from the public eye. While the world watched, their love story grew quietly in private. After a long period of dating with many joys and challenges, William proposed to Kate. This moment was highly anticipated and became one of the most beautiful events. Their wedding took place on April 29, 2011, at the magnificent Westminster Abbey in London, attracting attention from all over the world as they exchanged their lifelong vows. The wedding not only marked an important royal event, but also opened a new chapter in William's life. He was no longer alone in his royal role, as Kate gracefully stepped into public life, ready to take on duties and contribute to building a new, warm image for the royal family. Her presence brought a breath of fresh air, softening the traditional image of the British royal family. After getting married, Kate quickly adapted and lived her new role to the fullest. She always accompanied William to events, actively supported charities, and met people from all walks of life. Her special point was the ability to make people feel appreciated and truly cared for by listening sincerely, always smiling and showing warmth in every action. One of William and Kate's first decisions as a royal couple was to set up a wedding fund rather than accept individual gifts. They asked people to donate to worthy causes such as children, the elderly, military families, animals, and those struggling with health issues. In doing so, the couple made it clear that they wanted to use their positions to make a positive difference and help build a stronger community. Over time, Kate has become increasingly prominent in her own philanthropic role, focusing on areas such as mental health, child welfare, addiction, recovery support, and the arts. It has become known as the Kate Effect. Whatever she endorses or wears quickly attracts public and media attention, helping to raise awareness and momentum for important social issues. Kate's subtle yet powerful influence has made her an icon not only for fashion, but also for philanthropy and community service. Kate has a love of art history, which has drawn her to creative projects. She supports groups that use art therapy for children and takes on roles in arts organizations. Her love of photography is also a big part of her royal life. Kate often takes official photographs of her children, capturing sweet moments in their adult lives. William and Kate made a great team in the early years of their marriage. They went on royal tours, always showing kindness and warmth. Whether visiting New Zealand or meeting leaders of other countries, they remained humble and friendly, winning hearts everywhere. Shortly after their wedding, they went to Canada on one of their first major trips together. Huge crowds turned out to see them. People loved Kate's natural grace and William's gentle demeanor, which was reminiscent of Princess Diana. Over time, Kate also attended events herself. Her first solo event was a fundraiser for In-Kind Direct. She then gave her first public speech at a children's hospice, showing her concern for the families and children she met. But their lives were not all about royal work. They built a loving, happy home for their growing family. Their 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, brought joy not only to them, but to people everywhere. Kate has been praised for being a caring mother who always makes time for her children, balancing royal duties with a simple, caring approach to raising her children. Kate's work has grown as she supports causes in sports photography, mental health, and child welfare. She is also not afraid to speak out about difficult issues. By leading projects such as Action Against Addiction and mental health programs, she has encouraged people to talk openly about their struggles. It's about listening to people, understanding their stories, and using your voice to draw attention to the things that matter most. Even as the pandemic raged in 2020, William and Kate continued to find new ways to connect and support their communities. They embarked on a 3-day train journey across England, Scotland, and Wales to pay their heartfelt thanks to frontline healthcare workers. While the trip was controversial and drew some criticism, it was a clear demonstration of their gratitude and genuine concern for those fighting the pandemic. Over the years, the relationship between William and Kate has become stronger than ever. Despite many difficulties, public pressure, and family troubles, they have always stood by each other. Kate has brought William peace and happiness together. They have reshaped the royal image by combining tradition with a modern, humane, and generous approach. They are truly a strong team leading the future of the British royal family with dedication and responsibility. In 2013, the birth of Prince George brought joy not only to Prince William and Catherine, but to the entire nation. People around the world celebrated the birth of the future king. Princess Charlotte was born 2 years later, followed by Prince Louis in 2018. Each announcement was made with care and warmth, giving the public precious little glimpses into the lives of the princes and princesses while keeping them safe and private. William and Catherine have decided to raise their children in a peaceful environment, away from the constant attention of the cameras and media. They first chose to live on the peaceful island of Anglesey, then moved to Norfolk to build a life that blends royal tradition with a modern, simple style. They wanted their children to have a peaceful, loving childhood away from the hustle and bustle of London. But William and Catherine are also well aware of the importance of sharing small moments of happiness with the public. By releasing family photos on special occasions like birthdays and Christmas, they give people an intimate glimpse into their private lives, where royal titles mingle with bedtime stories and simple but meaningful outdoor games. While building a happy family life, William and Catherine always kept their royal duties in mind. Shortly after their wedding in 2011, they made their first royal visit to Canada. Their kind, friendly nature made them very popular with everyone they met. Whether planting trees or playing street hockey, they joined in with laughter and smiles, showing a down-to-earth side of royalty that touched people's hearts. They then visited California, where Catherine made her first trip to the United States as a royal. In 2012, William and Catherine undertook an extensive tour of Asia and the Pacific to celebrate Queen Elizabeth II's Diamond Jubilee. They visited countries such as Singapore, Malaysia, Tuvalu, and the Solomon Islands, carrying a message of unity and honoring royal traditions. Notably, Catherine gave her first overseas speech at a children's hospice in Malaysia, demonstrating her sincerity and deep concern for the less fortunate. The royal couple made special connections with people from all walks of life, making the trip a huge success and a strong reinforcement of the relationship between the British royal family and the Commonwealth countries. Their closeness and friendliness made the locals feel more appreciated and connected to the royal tradition. In 2014, William and Catherine continued their tour of Australia and New Zealand, this time bringing Prince George along, the little prince's first official trip. George quickly captured hearts with his innocent moments, hugging toys and playing at children's events. The visit was considered a perfect combination of important meetings and fun moments, and was hailed by local media as one of the most memorable royal visits to the region. Over time, Catherine became more and more involved in royal duties. She regularly appeared at state events, official ceremonies, and charity gatherings. People loved her not only for her beauty and kindness, but also for her simplicity and approachability. Although she was the Duchess of Cambridge, she was still someone that ordinary people could relate to because of her humble background. In 2022, after the death of Queen Elizabeth, Catherine assumed the title of Princess of Wales, a title once held by Princess Diana. Her grace and elegance in this new role has been widely admired. She has often stood by Prince William at important occasions, demonstrating unwavering strength and deep compassion for others. She remains committed to the causes she cares about most, particularly child development, mental health awareness, and support for families. William and Catherine have built a strong, united image. In 2016, they teamed up with Prince Harry to launch the Heads Together campaign, which aims to end the silence and stigma surrounding mental health issues. William has been open about his own emotional challenges, including grief after the death of his mother and the stress of working as an air ambulance pilot. This is rare for a royal, and people from all walks of life have appreciated it. In 2020, William showed his interest in global issues by creating the Earthshot Prize. The prize aims to find and support smart, innovative ideas to help protect the planet. Each year, 5 winners are awarded $1 million for projects to combat climate change and help heal the environment. With experts from around the world participating, the Earthshot Prize is often compared to the Nobel Prize in terms of its importance. It shows that William wants to be more than just a future king. He hopes to make a real difference in the world. William's calm, steady leadership style has won him the trust of the public. In a survey conducted in March 2023, 74% of respondents said they viewed him positively, making him the most popular member of the royal family, even ahead of King Charles. People admire his calm nature, hard work, and dislike of unnecessary trouble. His honesty, kindness, and dedication to important causes have earned him respect and love. In 2021, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made headlines with an interview where they discussed issues and racism within the royal family. William responded with caution by briefly denying the allegations without adding fuel to the fire. His calm handling of the situation was seen as a wise and graceful move, showing his ability to handle difficult situations with dignity. In early 2023, concerns about King Charles' health began to grow, forcing William to take on more responsibilities. He began attending more public events, presenting awards, and representing the royal family on international trips. When the king was treated for a minor illness in February, William immediately took over managing royal duties, charity visits, and important meetings. He was clearly ready for a bigger role. William also continued his mother's legacy by supporting charities she cared about. He volunteered with Centerpoint, a homeless organization close to Diana's heart, and even spent a night on the streets to understand their struggles. These acts served as touching reminders of his mother's lasting influence, now carried on by her son. William and Catherine have also found a way to balance the modern world of social media. Their Instagram account shares short videos, personal photos, and glimpses of their charity work. These updates feel genuine and warm while still respecting royal tradition. By embracing this new way of connecting, they have reached out to younger generations without losing the dignity of their royal role. William has been gently shaping a new kind of royal leadership. Unlike his predecessors, he has not rushed to modernize the monarchy. Instead, he has guided it slowly toward a more open and approachable future while retaining important parts of its history. Some royal experts believe he could be the man to lead the monarchy into a kinder, stronger, more compassionate era. The big question that remains unanswered is, when will Prince William officially ascend the throne, and how will that process take place? This is something that many people around the world are very interested and curious about. Could William become king sooner than expected? The answer remains to be seen, but recent developments have increased attention to this issue. In January 2024, news from Buckingham Palace caused a stir around the world when King Charles was admitted to a London hospital for a routine checkup. He was diagnosed with an enlarged prostate, a common condition among men his age. Initially, everyone was reassured that he was healthy and would recover. However, during the treatment, doctors made a surprising discovery and decided to conduct more detailed tests, raising even more concerns about the king's health. Soon after, the palace shocked everyone by announcing that King Charles had cancer. They did not specify what type of cancer it was, but they made it clear that it was not prostate cancer. The king immediately began treatment, going to the hospital every week to fight the disease. Although things were difficult, King Charles tried his best to stay active while receiving outpatient treatment. He continued to carry out his important royal duties. Some of his public events were canceled, but he continued to work behind the scenes. In March 2024, Queen Camilla appeared on behalf of King Charles at many important events, deputizing for the king whenever he was unable to attend. Her appearances helped maintain a stable image and a royal presence in the public eye during this difficult time. The royal family has continued to send out positive messages, stressing that King Charles is grateful for the love and support he has received from the people and his family. In March 2024, King Charles made his first public appearance since his illness attending Easter service at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. This event gave the public great hope that the king's health was improving. In April 2024, the palace announced that King Charles's health was improving and that he would gradually return to royal duties, albeit on a lighter schedule. However, concerns were raised again in March 2025 when the king was temporarily hospitalized due to side effects from his treatment. Several events he was scheduled to attend were canceled, adding to public uncertainty about his health. While the palace maintained an upbeat tone and tried to reassure the public, the news of Charles's cancer, announced on February 5, 2024, remained a major question mark over the future of the monarchy. The palace did not disclose the type of cancer but insisted it was not prostate cancer and that the king had begun aggressive treatment. Despite his long-standing health problems, King Charles has shown an admirable sense of responsibility in continuing to assume his role as head of state. He regularly attends government meetings, signs important documents, and takes a leading role in key decisions for the country. Each appearance, however brief, is carefully staged, demonstrating his efforts to maintain the stability of the monarchy despite his illness. However, in May 2025, a special event attracted the attention of the public and the media. King Charles made a brief visit to Canada. During the trip, he addressed the Canadian Parliament and met with the country's top leaders. While the public was happy to see him again, many noted that the visit was very short, and all activities were organized quickly, in contrast to the open, long-term contact style of previous years. This raised concerns that the king's health condition may be more serious than the palace announced. Meanwhile, Queen Camilla has been dealing with her own health issues. During a tour of Australia and Samoa in October 2024, she began to feel unwell and was diagnosed with pneumonia in November. As a result, many events she was scheduled to attend had to be canceled. Although she has gradually recovered, the illness has left her feeling tired for months, limiting her ability to return to regular royal duties. In December 2024, when the Emir of Qatar visited, Queen Camilla was scheduled to attend many important events, such as dinners and meetings, but doctors advised her to rest. Most of her activities were canceled, raising concerns about the future of the royal family, especially as King Charles has become less and less visible in public. The health of both has raised many questions about the upcoming transition of power. In April 2025, King Charles and Queen Camilla made a surprise trip to the Vatican as part of a previously unannounced visit to Italy. There, they had a private and emotional meeting with Pope Francis, who was also recovering from pneumonia. The visit coincided with the 20th wedding anniversary of the King and Queen, and it was filled with many layers of meaning, from the deeply personal to the spiritual and historical symbolism. However, the solemn atmosphere quickly turned gloomy when Pope Francis passed away just 12 days later. The appearance of three elderly leaders, the King, the Queen, and the Pope, at the same time when their health was failing made the public think. The image of King Charles and Queen Camilla at the Vatican, looking pensive and sometimes tired, raised further questions about the future. Will they be able to continue to shoulder the great royal responsibilities in the future? That worry is quietly spreading among the people. Although the palace has never officially said anything about the king's abdication, experts and royal historians have begun to talk about the possibility that Prince William will ascend the throne sooner than expected. During this time, Prince William has begun to take on more royal duties. In 2024 and 2025, he attended more public events than he had before. He met with important leaders, represented the royal family at special gatherings, and stood by his father during difficult times. Some believe this means the royal family is carefully preparing for what might come next. There has been no official announcement of King Charles stepping down, but it is clear that Prince William is being entrusted with greater responsibilities. He has handled difficult situations with grace and calm. The way he has gently taken on more work without trying to draw attention to himself has made people admire him even more. As King Charles and Queen Camilla take a step back to focus on their health, and Prince William takes on more responsibilities, the public is becoming more concerned about the future of the monarchy. Some royal observers have suggested that if Charles's health does not improve significantly, it is entirely possible that he might consider passing the crown to his son. While the palace has never confirmed any such plans, the gradual transition to William has brought the topic into the public eye. In the long and solemn history of the British monarchy, abdication is extremely rare and always carries serious implications. Although it is not a common occurrence, each time it has left a deep mark on the people and on the history books. 1936 was a prominent example when King Edward VIII suddenly abdicated the throne to Mary Wallace Simpson, a divorced American woman with whom he was deeply in love. The decision shocked the entire kingdom, created a serious political crisis, and forced the government to quickly adapt to a period of unprecedented change. Although Charles III's circumstances were very different, many people still couldn't help but recall Edward VIII's story when they saw the difficulties he was going through. The idea of a king potentially abdicating once again made the public wonder if history could repeat itself in some way, creating a lot of thought and speculation around the future of the monarchy. Buckingham Palace has not given any hint that King Charles is thinking about abdicating. Palace officials have made it very clear that he remains fully committed to his work as king. Even while undergoing cancer treatment, King Charles has continued to handle his daily responsibilities, reading government documents, holding important private meetings, and quietly handling the affairs of the kingdom. Those close to the king say he believes it is his duty to serve as monarch for the rest of his life, and unless his health takes a turn for the worse, they believe it is highly unlikely that he will step down. Across the UK, many people have shown great respect and love for King Charles. They admire how he has remained resilient in his role in the face of such a serious health challenge. In early 2025, the king even made a short trip to Canada. The visit only lasted 20 hours, but it showed everyone that he still wanted to do his job very much. Although the visit was short, people saw it as a sign of his strength, courage, and determination. However, everyone understands that dealing with cancer at his age is very serious, and no one really knows what the future holds. If there comes a time when King Charles is no longer able to carry out his duties, Prince William will be next in line to the throne. Many believe that Prince William has been quietly preparing for that possibility. Over the past 2 years, he has taken on more and more public responsibilities. He has attended many important events, met world leaders, and proudly represented the monarchy at special moments. The calm and steady way he has handled these duties has convinced people that he is ready for anything that may come. Right now, there is no official plan or date for any form of transfer of the crown. The order of succession is clearly laid out in law, and if King Charles chose to abdicate, it would not be simple. It would require new laws to be passed and approval from Parliament, as well as Commonwealth countries like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. When King Edward VIII abdicated in 1936, it took swift and careful legal changes to make it happen. If something similar happened today, it would require similar coordination and preparation. For this reason, it seems the royals are quietly making sure they are ready for anything. Prince William and Duchess Catherine have been doing more public work meeting important people and taking on roles that help them prepare for the future. The royals seem to have a careful plan in place to keep things calm and stable even when unexpected changes occur. The media has been following every detail of King Charles's health since his diagnosis. Reports have frequently suggested that he may abdicate soon, although Buckingham Palace has continued to deny these rumors. They have stressed that the king remains focused on his duties and has no plans to step down. Official palace messages have even asked the press and public not to spread speculation about his health. Even with all the whispering and speculation, the royal family continues to move forward. Major events like the state opening of Parliament are still going ahead as planned. The King's team is working diligently to ensure everything runs smoothly, even if it's a little slower than usual. Throughout all of this, the royal family remains strong and determined. The King and Queen are doing their best to manage their health, while Prince William is stepping in to help out wherever needed. The media has not only focused on King Charles's health, but also on how Prince William and other royals are coping with the current situation. William's increased appearances at important events are seen as a sign that he is preparing to take on more responsibilities in the near future. This also creates a new picture of the transition of power within the royal family, as the next generation begins to gain more attention. Meanwhile, the public and political analysts are closely following every move from Buckingham Palace, especially the statements and actions of royal family members. Many believe that although the current situation is somewhat difficult, the stability and long-standing tradition of the monarchy will help the royal family overcome this challenge. They also believe that maintaining a positive image and unity within the royal family is a key factor in maintaining the people's trust. In addition, royal experts also mentioned the importance of modernizing the monarchy to suit the new era. The image of Prince William and Princess Catherine showing a friendly and approachable image has contributed to renewing the royal image in the eyes of the public. This not only helps to strengthen the position of the royal family, but also creates hope for the future that the monarchy will continue to exist and develop sustainably in the coming decades. And that's the main developments about Prince William's succession to the throne and the last words of King Charles revealed by Princess Anne. A big turning point for the British royal family and the whole country. What do you think about this event? Leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell to not miss the latest news. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Queen Camilla faltered in the courtroom, her hands trembling and voice breaking as she faced Diana's sister, Lady Sarah Spencer. The entire courtroom fell into a suffocating silence. No one dared to breathe, all eyes fixed on Camilla. In Sarah's hands was a letter, a secret letter that could change the history of the royal family forever. Not only was she the keeper of hidden truths, but she also brought to light the secrets long buried in the shadows. An overwhelming tension filled the room as whispered rumors finally became undeniable truth. The secrets the palace had denied for decades, affairs, betrayals, and manipulation were now fully exposed. Camilla, who once smiled through scandals, now stood confronted by the bloodline of Diana, the woman silenced for years, confirming what many had feared. The truth at last could no longer be hidden. Don't forget to comment 1 if you resonate with this story, or 0 if you see it differently. Share your thoughts with us, and make sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss what happens next. We're about to reveal every secret in this unfolding drama. As the entire world watched the proceedings unfold in the courtroom, the question of Camilla's fate became clearer than ever. Could this be the end of her reign? Would the royal family survive this reckoning? Or had Diana finally delivered her long-awaited justice after years of silence? The courtroom was thick with tension, unanswered questions echoing in the minds of everyone present as every eye was fixed on Camilla. What was unfolding was not just a trial, but a revolution. Sit back, sip your tea, take a deep breath, and stay with us, for what happens next will leave you speechless. The courtroom was in shock. All the witnesses were waiting, but no one could have prepared for what Lady Sarah Spencer would do next. She stood tall, a symbol of resolve and decisiveness. With the letter in hand, Sarah's voice rang out with determination as she spoke 7 words that made time seem to stand still. "My sister knows the truth about you." These words struck with the force of a blow to the heart of everyone in the courtroom. Sarah's statement not only eroded Camilla's image, but also sparked a battle that would never truly end. Those 7 simple words were a declaration of war, an undeniable affirmation that the truth about Diana, about the royal family, and about the things that had been hidden for so long had finally been exposed. And now it was Sarah, Diana's sister, who was leading the charge for justice, bringing those secrets into the open and refusing to let history continue to be rewritten the way those in power wanted. Queen Camilla froze, her hands trembling slightly, her eyes searching for safety in the empty room, but there was nothing. The silence became deafening heavy, as if time itself had come to a standstill. All eyes in the courtroom were fixed on Camilla, and she knew this was no longer a family matter. This was a historic moment, a door opening to secrets that many had long concealed through lies. Slowly, Sarah pulled a letter from her bag, the courtroom leaning in, and Diana's familiar handwriting seemed to dance on the page, revealing all the raw emotions hidden beneath. Diana's words were blunt and truthful, with no attempts at hiding or softening the impact. The sound of heavy breaths began to fill the room, everyone clutching their mouths, afraid to speak. A royal guard turned away, unable to face what was unfolding before them. The judge called for order, but what had transpired could not be undone. The truth was out, and the world had heard it. Camilla's lawyer rushed to object, but Sarah locked eyes with her, not allowing her any room to escape. "She trusted you," Sarah whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "And you broke that trust." Those words, though soft, carried a tremendous weight, an irrefutable confirmation that Camilla had betrayed and hurt the one person, Diana, who had trusted her so completely in her innocence. Camilla looked as if she had been slapped, her eyes wide and filled with tears, but not a single tear could change the letter in Sarah's hand or the powerful silence in her voice. She stood frozen, as if time itself had stopped in the face of the truth Diana had left behind. The camera zoomed in on her eyes, but it couldn't hide the panic in them. The letter in Sarah's hand was irrefutable evidence, a living proof of what had happened and what had been buried all these years. Camilla's tears could not erase the truth. On the contrary, Sarah's silence rang louder than any words could. The day of judgment may have only just begun, but the stillness in the courtroom spoke volumes. A letter, a voice from the past, and a courtroom that could not stop the storm it would unleash. Everyone in the room understood that this was not just a trial, but a historic moment where secrets were exposed and all the mysteries of the royal family would be unraveled. And Camilla, whether she liked it or not, would have to face the consequences of her actions. But exactly what had Diana written? Something in her words was so powerful that it silenced even a queen. Now the world's eyes were on that folded piece of paper, a message that could rewrite royal history forever. Sarah opened it, and Diana's words immediately shook the palace to its core. The words in the letter were not just mere handwriting. They carried an invisible power laden with the pain and anger Diana had endured for so many years. As Sarah began to read, each word felt like a ticking time bomb breaking apart the perfect facade the palace had built. Diana, though no longer here, had ignited a flame that could not be extinguished. The words in the letter echoed the voice of a woman who had been silenced for so long, now bursting forth as an undeniable truth. And everyone in the room, from the judge to the reporters, could feel that this was not just a letter. It was a declaration of war, an unveiling of a deep truth that no one could ignore. It was not just a letter, it was Diana's heart on paper. "They are slowly pushing me out," she wrote, not as a cry for help, but as a final warning. Though the words had been written long ago, now they surged into the courtroom like a storm, shattering the silence and flooding the room with a cold, harsh truth. Now, decades later, those words echoed through the courtroom like thunder ripping apart the protective layers the palace and the powerful had so carefully constructed. Sarah read each line of the letter, every word, a reminder of the story Diana had lived through her entire life. In the stillness of the past, Diana had spoken of the isolation and psychological manipulation she had suffered. "They made me feel like I was going crazy," Diana had written. These words were a raw revelation of the pain she had hidden for so long. And then the letter titled Gnomes, a name, not just a title, but a manifestation of shadows it clearly cast. Those shadows were Camilla, and her presence was unmistakable. These words, though only a part of the letter, held immense power capable of changing everything. The image of Camilla, which had always been concealed in darkness, was now exposed, no longer something that could be hidden. Diana was not only unveiling the truth about herself, but she was also confronting the shadows from the past, ones that could never be erased. The queen tried to resist. She stood up and declared, "That's not true." But the room did not move. No one nodded, no one clapped. Everyone just stared at what was unfolding. This was not about what Camilla said, but about what Diana had left behind in that letter. The soft paper carrying harsh truths heavier than 1,000 royal statements. The stillness enveloped the room, the only sound the breathing of those witnessing this historical moment. Outside, the press erupted with headlines screaming, "The shocking letter," analysts calling it the most condemnable royal evidence since the BBC interview. But more than just evidence, it was emotion, the things Diana had carried with her throughout her life now being set free. Diana had poured all her final fears into ink, and now that ink was not just lying still on the page, it was burning the walls of the palace, shattering the perfect facade the royal family had built. Each word in the letter was not merely a revelation, but a bomb that shook the powers that had reigned over the palace for so long. The truths Diana could not speak during her years of captivity within the royal image were now ignited, forcing not just Camilla but the entire monarchy to face the inevitable exposure. Could this be the moment everything begins to crumble? So who brought this letter into the light? who had kept it for decades, waiting for the right moment to speak while others stayed silent. A woman unwavering, Diana's sister, who had been in the shadows for so many years, but now she stepped into the spotlight with the truth. The next chapter is not about the royal family, but about loyalty. Let us meet the woman behind the explosion in the courtroom, the woman Sarah Spencer, the sister, the woman who testified. Sarah Elizabeth Sarah Lavinia Spencer, born in 1955, never intended to become famous. While her sister Diana stepped into the royal spotlight and became a global icon, Sarah chose to live in the shadows. She was not someone who sought attention or fame, but rather someone who quietly stood behind supporting and protecting what was worth cherishing. Sarah remained in the background, never flaunting herself or rushing into the public eye. But what the world didn't know was that behind Diana's strength, behind every victory and step forward in her life, was Sarah's silence. She was the steadfast rock when the palace turned to ice, when everything around them could collapse. Sarah never sought recognition, but she was the one who kept Diana grounded when the royal storm hit. Her loyalty and support were never acknowledged, but it was because of her that Diana was able to rise and become the woman the whole world admired. Sarah had known about the royal world long before Diana did, and in fact, she had dated Prince Charles first. Although that relationship was short-lived, it gave her a clear view of what lay ahead for her sister. But when that romance ended, Sarah stepped aside, unwilling to let the complexities of royal life dictate her own. Many years later, when Charles found new love with Diana, it was Sarah who helped introduce them, creating a connection that would forever change the course of royal history. Sarah once joked, "I wouldn't marry him if he were the king." A playful, lighthearted remark, but also a reminder of the difference between herself and Charles. However, that joke would become a shadow that haunted her for decades. What seemed like a harmless comment at the time slowly became an indelible mark on Sarah's mind as she watched her sister enter a marriage she knew would be full of challenges. The shadow of the past of Sarah's relationship with Charles would always loom over Diana's decisions and choices, becoming an inseparable part of the royal story. When Diana stepped into the palace, Sarah was always close by. Never loud, never ostentatious, simply present a quiet but steadfast presence. Though she never sought attention, Sarah was the one who stood behind protecting and shielding Diana during her most difficult times. Diana trusted her, sharing secrets that no one else knew, things even the palace could not be aware of. Sarah helped Diana prepare for interviews, guided her through the brutal royal storms, and stood by her side during the moments of hardship that the world could only speculate on. In those crucial moments when Diana felt alone and abandoned, Sarah was always there, the only one she could trust. And now Sarah steps forward not for revenge, but for justice. She is not doing this for the crown, not for fame or power, but for the sister she loves and has lost. Diana, the sister whose voice had once been silenced, is now heard again thanks to Sarah's persistence and loyalty. When everything had seemed silent for so long, Sarah spoke up not just for justice for Diana, but to let the world know that there are truths that should never be buried even when the most powerful people try to silence them. "I am not here to destroy anyone, I am here to tell the truth," Sarah declared in court, her voice steady but filled with emotion. This was not a personal battle, but a fight for justice, for the truth that had been hidden for far too long. From being a confidant to a matchmaker, Sarah had been there long before Diana donned the crown, and the public's love was not just for Diana, but also for the sister they had never truly understood. Sarah, who had once walked alongside Prince Charles in 1977, became part of the royal story that few truly knew. Charles and Sarah were seen skiing in Switzerland, smiling at polo matches, and attending dinner parties with the elite, a picture-perfect image the public admired, one that seemed full of promise. But behind the smiles and glamorous parties, Sarah felt the cold steel of the royal expectations. Everything was calculated, every action had to conform to the strict rules of a world she never chose. Though she stood beside Charles in the public's most admired moments behind closed doors, Sarah knew well that she was merely a small part of a power game that she could not control. Those years, although unspoken, carried with them a quiet yearning, waiting for the moment when she could finally speak out. "I would not marry him if he were the King of England," she once famously said, a statement spoken softly but carrying tremendous weight. A bold sentence, especially when whispered into the ear of a reporter. Those simple 10 words ended her romance with Prince Charles, and at the same time they etched Sarah's name permanently into the royal ledger, becoming an inseparable part of the tragic love story of the royal family. These words were not just a rejection. They were a firm affirmation of the incompatibility between her and a system she felt she could not keep up with. However, that was not the end of her story with Charles. In a twist of fate, it was Sarah, the one who had once distanced herself from Charles, who ended up introducing her sister Diana to the prince she had once loved. She never imagined that one moment, one casual introduction would change everything. She could never have predicted that from a simple meeting would come a marriage that would stir so many storms, ultimately leading to changes in an entire dynasty. Diana was only 16 years old when she met Charles at a family gathering. Shy, warm, and charming Diana immediately caught his attention, and everything around them seemed to stop when they first locked eyes. Sarah, with a gaze full of sincerity and hope, encouraged their relationship, thinking it was just a harmless connection, something simple, not too complicated. "You two would make a lovely couple," she once said with a gentle smile. "It's just a normal thing, nothing too serious." Though these words were said innocently, they unintentionally set history on a new path no one could have foreseen. A path that would end in both tragedy and legend, causing not only Diana but the entire royal family to face irreversible changes. Years later, when the love story between Diana and Charles had come to its end, Sarah admitted feeling guilty for having introduced them. The relationship she had created, though starting with good intentions, had turned into a storm that shattered not only Diana's heart, but also everything once believed to be steadfast in the royal world. She couldn't help but feel that she had led her sister down a path Diana, with all her youthful innocence, wasn't prepared for. We never thought she would stop during interviews. The emotion in her voice still resonates in the hearts of those who listened. Sarah, with a heart full of concern, led Diana into an unavoidable battle, into the lion's den where nothing would be as simple as she had imagined. Could that careless match, that accidental introduction, have been the first step into a heartbreaking fate Diana would have to endure? History may never answer this question clearly, but Sarah carried that question with her every day like a shadow she couldn't shake off. An introduction that seemed ordinary, a royal match no one could predict the consequences of, and the regret that followed became deeply embedded in Sarah's mind. As she watched the fairy tale unfold with all its glamour and its suffering, she couldn't help but ask herself, did I send her there? That was the question Sarah would carry with her for the rest of her life. A painful question about her decision about her intervention in her sister's fate, a decision that could never be undone. But the story didn't end with a wedding. It only began. Diana stepped into the spotlight of the century, becoming not only a symbol of royalty, but also of a generation, while Sarah stood on the sidelines quietly observing this immense transformation. Let's take a step back to the beginning of Diana's royal journey, from a shattered childhood to a spectacular wedding that left the world in awe. The formation of Princess Diana before becoming the Princess Diana known to the world is the story of a young girl with a great sorrow. Her parents divorced when she was only 7 years old, an event that left a deep wound in her heart. The family estate in Sandringham, though beautiful, lacked the warmth a child needed. Diana's stepmother, Rain, was strict and cold, unable to replace the love Diana so desperately longed for. In a painful moment of her childhood, Diana was once pushed down the stairs by her stepmother, an act that exemplified the emotional distance and indifference she had to endure. These memories were etched deeply in Diana's mind, pains that were never fully soothed, and it was these experiences that shaped the strong yet deeply wounded woman she would later become, the woman who would rise as an icon of compassion and resilience. Diana grew up with a heart full of hope. She loved children, dancing, and fairy tales. At the age of 19, Diana was working at a kindergarten in London, leading a simple life full of dreams when Prince Charles began calling her. Her friends teased her, but Diana, with her pure heart and belief in magic, couldn't resist those invitations. She believed this could be her very own fairy tale, the one she had dreamed about since she was a little girl. Sarah, from behind the scenes, watched every step her sister took. Though fame began to loom over Diana, Sarah remained steadfast beside her, always supporting and believing in her strength. Sarah knew that despite the weight of the crown, Diana was strong enough to carry it. "You are stronger than you think," Sarah once told her, a gentle reminder filled with trust and belief. Then came the proposal and the transformation. From a young girl with naive belief in love, Diana stepped into royal life, facing all the demands and challenges she had never imagined. This transformation was not just an external change, but a profound shift within her soul as Diana began to confront the pressures and expectations that royal life imposed on her. Diana had become Shy Di, the girl with the squinting eyes and the huge engagement ring. Sarah was there to help with fittings, take photos, and experience all the emotional highs and lows. She helped Diana navigate royal protocols, from bowing to handling expectations. But even she couldn't fully see the immense weight of what Diana was about to face. Looking back, Sarah's support was genuine but perhaps overly hopeful. "I thought she could handle it," she had said. Then she added, "I thought things would be different." Looking back, Sarah's support was real, but perhaps too hopeful about her sister's ability to handle everything. "I thought she could handle it." Sarah had said, a reminder that she trusted in Diana's strength. But then, after seeing her sister struggle with royal life, Sarah's view changed. "I thought things would be different," she said, with a deep understanding that Diana's life would never be what they imagined when they stood before the altar. Sarah's shift was not just disappointment, but a sobering shock to the harsh and relentless reality that royal life would impose on her sister. In the spotlight of the world, with no map, no armor, and no escape from the agony, Diana's rise was swift, but the wedding was not the end. It was the beginning of a silent battle where Diana stepped into a world where no one could predict the hardships that lay ahead. As her fairy tale unfolded, the world watched her every move. But in the shadows, a figure stood always near Camilla, hidden in plain sight, always just a step behind Diana, watching her every move like an unavoidable ghost. As Diana entered the church in her 25-foot-long dress, perfect like a dream, all eyes were on her. But perhaps she had no idea that she was walking into a trap, into a life she could never have imagined. Though the wedding between Diana and Charles shook the world behind the glamour, were plots, challenges, and a woman lurking in the shadows. She, the one no one spoke of, but was always there close by, and almost a part of the story Diana was about to face. Let's take a closer look at the wedding that shook the world and the truths behind it, about the woman who had always been present in the darkness, waiting for the moment to change everything. On July 29, 1981, the world stopped. Over 750 million people watched as Princess Diana Spencer entered St. Paul's Cathedral wrapped in a pristine white taffeta gown with a flowing train that seemed endless. The bells rang, cameras flashed non-stop, and from the outside it looked like a perfect royal fairy tale, the beginning of a dream that everyone wished for. The public couldn't take their eyes off Diana the princess in her magnificent dress, walking with grace and an unmistakable happiness. Sarah watched from the sidelines, smiling but silent. Despite the joy and excitement surrounding this moment inside, her anxiety couldn't be concealed. Her sister had stepped into history, into royalty, and into the hearts of millions. But quietly, Sarah must have wondered, is Diana ready? Can anyone truly be ready for such pressure, such scrutiny, and such isolation? Even as she saw Diana in this glorious moment, Sarah couldn't help but feel that it was just a small part of the complicated life her sister was about to face, with challenges that no one could predict. Behind the glamour of the wedding, Camilla Parker was present even though she wasn't officially invited. While her name wasn't on the guest list in whispered glances and private conversations, her presence could not be hidden. Camilla and Charles had a long history, a relationship the public knew nothing about. Diana, in her pain, had once said that she saw Camilla's initials on a bracelet that Charles had made for her. "There are 3 of us in this marriage." That statement was a poignant declaration, confirming what Diana knew but could not change. Later, Diana confessed, even at the altar where she and Charles exchanged vows, that the shadows had already appeared quietly but unmistakably. The vows were made the royal couple's kiss, broadcasted worldwide, leading people to believe they were witnessing a perfect love story. However, beneath that romantic veil, something had cracked the narrative of love that the world trusted. Everything wasn't as it had been painted, and the truth, little by little, began to surface. It was not the royal tale that everyone had imagined, but a complex, painful reality filled with shadows that Diana could not avoid. What do you think about the truth behind those royal vows and the romantic facade? Share your thoughts and feelings about this complex and painful story in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss our upcoming videos uncovering more untold secrets. Sarah knew. She had seen it from the very first day. When Diana stepped into royal life, Sarah was not only concerned about her sister's happiness, but also her survival in a harsh system where neglect and expectations had not only cracked the crown, but also Diana's heart. This system was not a place for sensitive souls, and Sarah noticed the change as soon as Diana and Charles's relationship began. The love that had glittered for the world to see shortly after the wedding gradually turned into deeper cracks in Diana's life. Not long after the wedding, everything began to change. Diana, once radiant and full of joy, now became quieter, thinner, and more withdrawn. She felt Charles pulling away, no longer caring for her as he once had. And always lurking in the shadows was a name Camilla. A ghost Diana could never escape, no matter how hard she tried. Diana had once told Sarah in a tear-filled moment, "He loves her, not me." That confession was painful and full of hurt, like an undeniable end. Sarah, despite trying to comfort her sister with simple words like, "You are his wife," knew deep down that Camilla had never truly left and would always be the shadow haunting Diana for the rest of her life. In 1989, it became undeniable. Camilla Gate changed everything. A private tape of Charles and Camilla surfaced, exposing long-hidden secrets to the light. Inappropriate conversations, unguarded words sent shockwaves through public opinion. The world heard Charles in a crude moment joking about wanting to live inside Camilla's pants. It was shameful, humiliating, as those words not only shattered trust in a marriage, but also damaged the image of the entire royal family. It marked the end of the royal fairy tale the public had once admired. In 1994, Charles finally admitted it on national television when he had no choice but to confess his betrayal. In a televised interview, he acknowledged that he had been unfaithful throughout his marriage to Diana, confirming what the public had long suspected. This admission wasn't just a personal confession, but the final shock for Diana, who had borne this pain in silence for years. The truth was out, but it left a deep wound that could never be healed. The following year, in Diana's famous interview, she bluntly stated, "There are 3 of us in this marriage, so it's a bit crowded." This statement wasn't just a painful confession, but also a devastating blow to the royal image that the public had long admired. Diana skillfully yet truthfully shattered the perfect facade that the royal family had built. That line wasn't only a confession of betrayal, but also opened a door to expose the secrets behind royal life. The world immediately took notice, and Diana's words cut deeper than any headline. It was the moment that forced everyone who had believed in the royal fairy tale to confront the cold, hard truth. However, while the public saw Diana fighting alone, facing criticism and loneliness, there was always someone behind the scenes silently supporting and assisting her. Sarah, the sister who had always stood by Diana, was the one who helped her manage the chaos of the palace. Sarah refused to claim ownership of the scandal that had tarnished the crown's perfect image, and although she never appeared in the public eye, she was the one who supported Diana during her most difficult times. Sarah never sought the spotlight, but her silence represented a powerful strength, a wise strategy to protect her sister from the endless storms that swept through royal life. Sarah was not just a sister. She was a strategist, the one who helped Diana navigate challenges that only they truly understood. When Diana needed strength, Sarah provided it. When Diana wanted to speak out, Sarah helped her find the right words. Sarah stood firm in the face of every storm, always steady and resolute. But was she merely a sister? Or was she the mastermind behind Diana's silent rebellion? Was Sarah the one who helped Diana maintain her strength, quietly guiding every step her sister took as she faced unimaginable challenges? What Sarah did was never exposed, but her strength and support were the key factors that allowed Diana to survive and fight in such a dangerous and complicated world. Most people saw Diana as graceful, yet emotionally rich. She was always the picture of femininity, delicate and full of charm, easily winning the hearts of the public. However, what few knew was the plan behind Diana's bold moves, and much of that came from Sarah. Unlike Diana, Sarah never sought the spotlight or the attention of the press. She didn't pose for cameras or attend public events. Instead, she quietly stood behind, silently supporting her sister through difficulties that only they truly understood. It was Sarah who helped Diana survive in the complex and challenging royal world. Sarah was not only a sister but also a savvy strategist. She counseled Diana through the chaos of Camilla Gate when secrets about Charles and Camilla's relationship started to surface. She helped Diana manage the story, protect the charities she was involved with, and maintain Diana's public image. Not only that, but Sarah also connected Diana with the right people, from lawyers to media advisors, to ensure her sister was always well prepared to face the media storms and pressures from the royal family. Diana no longer just reacted. She started acting with purpose, no longer swept along by events without a plan. With Sarah's support, Diana became a stronger woman capable of standing firm and fighting for herself. While the world looked at Diana's outward actions, Sarah worked tirelessly behind closed doors, ensuring that her sister was always protected and never had to face the storms alone. One of the biggest moments in Diana's life took place before her 1995 BBC interview. Diana was nervous, full of doubt and fear about the backlash she might face when revealing her truth. She knew that her words could change everything, not just her personal image, but also her position within the royal family. But Sarah, with her patience and deep understanding of her sister, encouraged Diana. "Tell your story your way, no one else will do it." These words were not just encouragement. They were a powerful reminder that this was Diana's chance to speak out, to tell the truth she had been keeping hidden for far too long. As a result, the interview became one of the most shocking in royal history, where Diana exposed the pain and betrayal she had endured. Sarah, who always stood by Diana, helped her prepare for this interview. She didn't just help Diana refine her words, but also prepared her mentally for what would come afterward. Sarah knew that after the interview, Diana would face severe criticism from both the public and the royal family. But no matter what, Sarah was there, steadfast and ready to protect her sister. When it came time to divorce Charles, Sarah was once again by Diana's side, helping her navigate the royal terms fight for the rights of her children and retain her titles. Diana may have given up the crown, but she did so with dignity and resilience that no one could deny. And much of that quiet strength came from Sarah, her sister, who was always the strategist and the shield that protected Diana through every challenge. Not only royal battles, Diana had a mission. She wanted to make a difference. She stepped out of the palace and into the world, helping those no one else dared to touch. Behind the scenes, Sarah supported every step she took. Let's follow the princess as she transformed from a royal wife to the queen of her global crusade. When Diana left the palace, she didn't retreat. She rose instead of sinking into silence. She used her voice to shine in places no royal had ever been before, and right by her side, still hidden in the shadows, was Sarah, who anchored her emotions and served as her personal advisor. Diana's work with AIDS patients truly broke down the barriers that society had built at the time. While most people were fearful and avoided contact, Diana had no hesitation in shaking hands with those afflicted, showing empathy and courage that few dared to express. "I want them to feel like they are human," she said. And it was these actions that changed the way society viewed the disease. Sarah, with her tact and strategy, quietly connected Diana with the appropriate charitable organizations, arranged visits, and most importantly ensured that the press captured Diana's kindness without turning those moments into a circus, as the media often did with attention-grabbing stories. Later, when Diana decided to go to Angola, she wasn't just a famous woman, but a symbol of courage. Diana walked through an active minefield, risking her life just to draw the world's attention to a forgotten crisis. Her actions sparked a global wave of attention not only to the issue of landmines in Angola, but also to her bravery and compassion. Throughout the trip, Sarah helped with all the logistics, ensuring her sister's safety, while maintaining the necessary privacy for Diana to carry out her work as effectively as possible. Although Diana was the one in front of the cameras receiving all the attention, no one could forget the crucial role Sarah played, always quietly supporting behind the scenes, enabling Diana to continue her humanitarian mission. Diana's courage went far beyond the photo shoots or the glamorous moments the public often saw. Her actions were not just symbols of compassion, but raw and risky moments that transcended the limits of fear. Diana had no hesitation in hugging patients with leprosy, visiting cancer wards, and confronting the pain that many others were too afraid to face. She traveled from Bosnia to South Africa, from African hospitals to far-flung places around the world, seeking out those in need of help. Each time she appeared in hospitals, Diana was not just a princess. She was a symbol of compassion, a woman on a mission to aid those suffering. And each time, Sarah silently stood behind, helping plan and supporting her sister's mission from behind the scenes. She never sought the spotlight, but Sarah's work, though unnoticed, was the key element that allowed Diana to maintain her strength throughout this journey. Sarah was the one who connected Diana with organizations, organized the visits, and made sure her sister was always protected during her actions. Diana was no longer just a princess, a model of grace and power. She became a global force and inspiration not only to the royal family but to the world. And while cameras captured Diana's every action, from holding hands with patients to taking perilous trips, it was Sarah who kept her steady behind the lens. Behind every brave action of Diana was the unwavering and silent support of her sister. Sarah was not just the protector of her sister, but also the one who helped Diana stay focused and patient throughout her mission to change the world. In the final days of the summer of 1997, Diana was radiant once again. Not because of palace life, but because of love, a love she had found after years of hurt and loneliness. She had found peace with Dodi Fayed, the billionaire film producer and son of the owner of Harrods. Together they cruised the Mediterranean, smiling for the cameras and appearing truly free, as if Diana had found a moment of serenity in her turbulent life. For the first time, Diana seemed truly happy. Happiness no longer a facade for the public, but a personal freedom in moments where she felt loved and cherished. In an emotional moment, Diana called Sarah that summer. "He makes me feel safe," Diana said, opening up about a relationship in which she found comfort and protection. Sarah, though cautious, could sense the difference. She had seen her sister hurt before, but this time Sarah's feeling was different. This time, Diana was no longer seeking a fleeting love. She had found a safe haven, a place where she could breathe and live a truly fulfilling life. Diana had escaped the confines of the institution, and now she wanted a real life, no longer burdened by the pressures of royal life or the obligations of the crown. For the first time in many years, Diana had found the freedom and happiness she had always longed for. Rumors about the marriage spread, the press worked tirelessly, and photographers followed them at every turn. Then came Paris on August 31st, a night that shattered the world. A black Mercedes sped away from the paparazzi, a tunnel, an accident, and silence. Diana was gone. Sarah flew to Paris with Prince Charles to bring her sister's body home. The strongest woman in Diana's life was now the one who had to say goodbye. At the funeral, Sarah stood close to the coffin, fighting back tears. She read a tribute that made the entire country mourn. She didn't speak to the cameras that day, but her sorrowful, proud, and silent face spoke volumes. Diana was gone, but the questions they had were only just beginning. But behind the black curtain and the royal statements, something wasn't right. Too many details, too many contradictions, and too much silence from those who should have spoken up. Sarah may have remained silent in public, but privately, she never stopped asking what really happened that night. Let's step into the shadows of one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in modern royal history, the mystery surrounding Diana's death. Why was the driver drunk? Henri Paul had a blood alcohol level 3 times the legal limit, yet he was entrusted with Diana's life. Why was there no proper security backup? Why was the tunnel not blocked after such a high-speed crash? And why did the sole surviving bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones lose his memory of the crash? Sarah has never accused anyone, but she hinted at things like, "There are questions we're never meant to ask." These questions are not just unanswered, but are deeply hidden secrets within Diana's death, things that perhaps will never be allowed to be brought to light. Rumors about MI6 involvement, strange surveillance records, and delayed medical responses only made the storm of truth even more intense. The suspicions grew stronger when even the French authorities couldn't explain why it took more than an hour to get Diana to the hospital, despite her being just minutes away. In her final days, Diana spoke of the fear she felt before they began their plans. A woman with great intuition, Diana wrote about that unease in her own handwriting as if it were a premonition. Was it just a feeling or something darker, a preparation for the inevitable? Those words weren't just a warning. They could have been a sign, a caution that Diana was trying to raise to alert the world. But in the end, did Diana see something that we still don't fully understand? Sarah, the keeper of that truth, remained silent but present, watching, remembering, waiting. Was it an accident or something more? The royal family has never provided a real answer, and perhaps they never will. But Sarah's silence speaks louder than words, and for those still seeking justice, her presence is a constant reminder that not everything has been said. A truth buried, another truth exposed as the public seeks justice. Camilla fought to maintain her royal role, but the court has changed everything. Sarah's revelations, Diana's letter, and years of silence have turned into a calculated storm. Now all eyes are on Queen Camilla. Will she survive this catastrophe, or is the crown now too heavy to bear the collapse of an image that had just begun? The courtroom did what decades of the media could not. It shattered Camilla's mask. The woman who rose from royal mistress to queen was now exposed. The fall headlines were brutal. Camilla crumbled, the ghost of Diana returned. The queen's image, carefully crafted over years, was wiped out in an afternoon. Camilla had fought for acceptance. Public apologies, charity appearances, carefully orchestrated interviews. It almost succeeded, but now Diana's words, Sarah's testimony, and the raw emotion of the public had rewritten the story. And this time, no public relations machine could fix it. Inside the courtroom, Camilla broke down, trembling. For the first time, she revealed her emotions in public, saying, I didn't mean to do this. But the judge, the media, and the world no longer cared about the meaning. Those words seemed irrelevant now because everyone was focused on the truth. And the ghost of Diana, a ghost that had haunted Camilla and the royal family for years, was now more powerful than ever. Diana, though no longer present, occupied every space, every conversation, becoming the unavoidable factor in every development of this story. The palace aides were in chaos, confused by the uncontrollable upheaval. Will she resign? Was the question everyone was asking. Could Charles survive politically after everything that had happened? The monarchy, once a fortress, now seemed to be collapsing, held together by threads of denial, growing weaker and more fragile every day. Camilla's reputation, once guarded at all costs, had now completely crumbled. No amount of apologies or justifications could salvage her image. And Sarah, who had witnessed everything, did not celebrate. She simply stood in silence, watching everything around her collapse. She wasn't seeking revenge or recognition, but Sarah's silence was her way of showing empathy and respect for her sister, who had endured so much over the years. There were no overwhelming words or noisy celebrations, only silence, steadfastness, and the understanding that while nothing could be reversed, justice had finally spoken. Sarah's mission was never about revenge, only justice. A tarnished crown, a defeated queen, and a woman who stood her ground. Lady Sarah Spencer never sought attention, never craved fame, but now she is the voice of a generation that has seen the truth behind the crown. What will she do next? Can she turn this storm into something lasting? Let us close this chapter with the legacy Sarah carries and the redemption that may rewrite history one last time. A legacy and redemption she never sought. The cameras have never captured every interview, but Sarah Spencer's mission has never been about noise or attention. Her silence was not avoidance, but a means to protect the truth, to uphold what Diana left behind. In the years after Diana's death, Sarah continued her sister's work quietly. Behind closed doors, she not only continued what Diana had done, but also carried on her spirit and mission. Sarah supported the charities Diana had given her heart to, served on boards, made donations, and guided young people to pursue Diana's goals. Everything she did was done without fanfare, simply acting from the heart to continue the legacy Diana had built. Then came the trial, and for the first time Sarah spoke publicly. In an emotionally charged moment, her voice did not tremble. The message she conveyed was clear and powerful. Diana matters, her truth matters, and I will not let her be forgotten. These words, filled with determination and loyalty, stirred deep emotions in the crowd outside the courtroom, and a strong wave of public support erupted. Sarah was not just a sister. She had become a silent hero, a royal figure without a crown, but with an inner strength far greater than anyone realized.